So tell me a little bit about your journey to Hardin-Simmons. How did you end up coming to Hardin-Simmons and becoming a professor?
Yeah, well, I was at the end of 1992, I graduated, done with graduate school, and I was looking for a teaching position. Felt called into teaching, it's what I wanted to do. So I just put my resume together, started sending them out to Baptist universities. I had to be honest, had not heard of Hardin-Simmons, I don't think, before I did that, sent out to a bunch of universities, and I waited. And of course, just was waiting for all those phone calls that were naturally going to come in begging me. But I actually did get a call from the head of the Department of Psychology at Hardin-Simmons and said, you know, your resume and everything, your experience really seems to fit our graduate program here. And I thought, wow, okay, that sounds great. So I came out here. Now, it was interesting. I didn't know a lot about Hardin-Simmons, but I did have a friend in the PhD program who graduated from Hardin-Simmons. Wow. So I asked him about it, and he had nothing but positive things to say about his experience. He said, oh, it's a great school. So, okay, that was good. And then as I come here for the interview, I begin to walk across campus to interview, my next interview with a faculty member who I was actually, if I was to be hired, would be taking his place. He had moved to the graduate dean position. Okay. So I would be taking his place. 2 years earlier, I had randomly called this faculty member because he was doing some work in the area of family ministry, and I was interested in that. I had never made the connection that he was with Hardin-Simmons and never remembered that. Walk into his office, we introduce each other. The first thing he says, didn't you and I talk 2 years ago? And we became friends, and that was a sort, I just felt right at home.
It almost sounds like there's some divine appointments that you had along the way.
I really believe that. Yeah, it was an amazing experience that just led me here, I think.
You mentioned the word called. Called to the ministry, called to teaching, called to counseling. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I've called to a lot of things. I guess I have just a lot of areas that I'm very interested in. But once I started, especially the doctoral work, I just knew it was going to be teaching. But I had interest in ministry, counseling, psychology. Ever since undergraduate, I was interested in that. And so just doors opened, and I continued to have opportunities in psychiatric hospitals and some in private practice, and to hone those counseling skills, some ministry work along the way as well. And so it's just been a wonderful experience of God guiding me through various fields that I've really enjoyed.
Teaching and students, what is it that you like about teaching? What's the draw to teaching and students, especially at Hardin-Simmons?
Yeah, well, I love the atmosphere here, the faith-based atmosphere, of course, and with my background and all, this is what I was looking for. But I have to tell you, really it gets down to the field or fields that I'm interested in. I'm very passionate about psychology, counseling, marriage and family therapy. And to be able to just, talk about something you're passionate about, teach it, share it, watch them get passionate about it, interested, learn, be with them, especially on graduate level, training therapists to kind of help them develop in the field. It's just a privilege. It's just a privilege, and fun, just a lot of fun.
If you got to do one thing every day for the rest of your life, what would that one thing be?
I think I'm doing it. I think I'm doing it. I really just enjoy what I'm doing. I'm kind of looking down the road and, retirement, what will that look like for me? And it'll be counseling. Okay. When I finally step down from teaching, I'll probably continue that. Writing, would probably like to do more of that. It's just kind of it.
In ministry and counseling, you hear a lot of stuff, a lot of heartache, I'm sure.
Yes.
As a counselor, how do you deal with that when it's on you and it's shared with you? How do you de-stress? How do you put it aside and you do life without carrying it with you?
Well, it's a great question, and I get that question a lot from graduate students who are just starting out. How in the world do we do this, and do this all the time? And part of it is the training. But part of it, I think it goes back to what we've talked about with calling. You know, when you have a calling, I think God empowers you in a certain way and says, you know, I've given you certain experiences from childhood on, and that's going to enable you to do this profession and not be overwhelmed by it. And so I think together that's how I've been able to do it.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.